Good morning students. In the previous video lecture, we have discussed about the programmable peripheral IC 8255, and in this video lecture, we will be discussing about the programmable inter-timer PTI 8253. Before getting in much detail about this 8253, let us first see about what is this 8253. The Intel 8253 is a programmable counter timer chip designed for use as an Intel microcomputer peripheral. It uses NMOS technology with a single 5-volt supply, and it is packaged in a 24-pin plastic dual inline package. It is organized as 3 independent 16-bit counters, each with a counter rate up to 2 MHz. All modes of operations are software programmable. The 82C54 is pin compatible with HMOS 8254, and it is a superset of 8253. 6 programmable timer modes allow the 82C54 or 8253 to be used as an event counter, elapsed time indicator, programmable one-shot, and in many other applications. Intel's programmable counter timer device, that is 8253, facilitates the generation of accurate time delays. When the 8253 is used as timing and delay generation peripheral, the microprocessor becomes free from the task related to the counting process and execute the program in memory, while the timer device may perform the counting tasks. This minimizes the software overhead on the microprocessor. Let us now discuss with the architecture and signal description of 8253 timer. The programmable timer device 8253 consists of 3 independent 16-bit counters, each with a maximum count rate of 2.6 MHz to generate 3 totally independent delays or maintain 3 independent counters simultaneously. All the 3 counters may be independently controlled by programming the 3 internal command word register. The 8-bit bidirectional data bus interface the internal circuit of 8253 to microprocessor system bus. Data is transmitted or received by the buffer upon the execution of in or out instructions. The read-write logic controls the direction of data buffer depending upon whether it is reading or writing an operation. It may be noted that in instruction reads data while out instruction writes data to peripheral. The 3 counters, all 16-bit presettable down counters, able to operate either in BCD or in hexadecimal mode. The mode control word register contains the information that can be used for writing or reading the count values into or from the respective count register using the out and in instructions. The speciality of this 8253 counter is that they can be easily read online without disturbing the clock input of the counter. This facility is called as on-the-fly reading of counters, and it is evoked using the mode control word. A0 and A1 pins are the address input pins and are required internally for addressing the mode control word register, and the 3 counter registers. A low on chip select line enables this 8253. No operations will be performed by 8253 till it is being enabled. A control word register accepts the 8-bit control word written by the microprocessor and store it from controlling the complete operation of the specific counter. It may be noted that the control word register can only be written and cannot be read, as it is obvious from the previous discussion itself. That is, while we are discussing about 8255 itself, I have mentioned this. The clock, gate, and out pins are available for each of the 3 timer channels. The clock, this is the clock input for the counter. The counter is a 16-bit counter. The maximum clock frequency is of 1 by 380 nanoseconds or 2.6 megahertz. The minimum clock frequency is DC or static operation. Coming about to this out, this signal outline is the signal that is the final programmed output of the device. Actual operation of the outline depends upon how the device has been programmed. Next, when we speak about this gate, this input can act as a gate for the clock input line, or it can act as a start pulse depending upon the programmed mode of the counter. Let us discuss about the pin functions of 8254. Let me start with chip select. This chip select enables the 8254 for programming and for reading or writing a counter. Next, it has a VCC of 5 volt supply and a ground pin which is being connected to the system ground bus. The gate input controls the operation of the counter in some modes of operation, and it is being listed in the table. The D0 to D7 pins are of bidirectional 3-state data bus lines connected to the system data bus. The clock input is the timing source for each of the internal counters. This input is often connected to the program clock signal from the microprocessor system bus control. And the out pin is a counter output, is where the waveform generated by the counter is available. The read causes the data to be read from the 8253 and often connected to the input output read signal of the system. And the write signal, the write causes the data to write the data from the 8254 and often connected to the write stop. Coming to the control word register, the 8255 can operate in any of the 6 different modes. A control word must be written. The respective control word registers by the microprocessor to initiate each of the counter of 8253 to decide its operating mode. All the counters can operate in any one of the mode, or they can be even in different modes of operation at a time. The control word format is presented here along with the definition of each bits. While writing a count in the counter, it should be noted that the counter is written in the counter only after the data is put on the data bus and a falling edge appears at the clock pin of the peripheral thereafter. Any reading operation of the counter before the falling edge appear may result in garbage data. All of the operation modes of the counter are selected by writing bytes to the control register. This is the control word format. The D7 and D6 bits are labeled as SC1 and SC0. These bits selects the counter to be programmed. It is necessary to define using the control bit D7 and D6 which counter is being set up. Once a counter is being set up, it will remain that way until it changed by another control word. The bit D5 and D4, RL1 and RL0 of the control word shows the above are defined as the read load mode for the register that is selected by bit D7 and D6. Bit D5 and D4 defines how the particular counter is to have data read from or to write it to by the processor. Let us see this table. When RL1 and RL0 are of 0, the counter value is being latched. This means that the selected counter has its content transfer into temporary latch, which can then be read by the CPU. When RL1 and RL0 are of 0, 1, then read or load least significant byte only. Only the least significant bytes of the data are being loaded. When it is of 1, 0, then the processor can read and load the most significant bytes only. When it is of 1, 1, the read and load is being possible for least significant byte first, followed by means of the most significant bits. By means of putting 0 and 1 to D7 and D6 bit, the counter operations are being selected, right? So if it is of 0, 0, then counter 0 is being selected. If it is of 0, 1, then counter 1 is being selected. If it is of 1, 0, then counter 2 is being selected. If it is of 1, 1, it is of illegal operation. No counters are being selected. Then coming back to this D3, D2 and D1 pin, these three bits are going to decide the modes of operation of timer. When these three bits are of 0, then mode 0, then the timer is going to operate in mode 0, that is interrupt on terminal count. When it is of 001, then the timer is going to operate in mode 1. When it is of 010, then the timer will operate in mode 2. When it is of 011, it will operate in mode 3. When it is of 100, it will operate in mode 4, and when it is of 101, then it will operate in mode 5. We will be discussing about these modes in detail in the preceding slides. Right. The only left bit is of D0 bit. This D0 bit is nothing but of the control register. This control register determines how the register will count. The maximum value for the count in each count mode are 104 in BCD and 216 in binary. That is 65,536 in decimals. If this particular bit is of 0, then a hexadecimal, then that counter is going to act as a hexadecimal counter. If a 1 is being placed in this particular D0 bit, then the counter is going to act as a BCD counter. Let us start discussing about the modes of timer in detail. Mode 0. Mode 0 is typically used for event counting. After the control word, CW is nothing but of control word, right? After the control word is being written, out is initially low and it will remain low until the count reaches 0. Out then goes high and remains high until a new count or a new mode 0 control word is written into the counter. After the control word, an initial count are being returned to a counter. The initial count will be loaded on the next clock cycle. This clock pulse does not decrement the count. So for an initial count of n, out does not go high until n plus 1 clock pulses after the initial count is being written. Gate is equal to 1 enables the counting. When gate is equal to 0, it disables counting. Gate has no effect on out. If gate goes low or if gate becomes a logical 0 in the middle of the count as shown in this figure, the counter will remain stop until the gate becomes a logical 1. If a new count is being written to the counter, it will be loaded on the next clock pulse and the counting will be continuing from the new count value. At the rising edge of the right, out becomes high and the counter start counting. Coming to the mode 1 operation, this mode 1 causes the counter to function as a re-triggerable monostable multivibrator, that is one shot multivibrator. Out is initially high here, also remains high when count is being written. When the gate is being triggered, out goes low and will remain low until the count reaches 0. On completion of count, out goes high. Here the count value is of 3. So as soon as the gate goes high, the count starts from 3, 2, 1 and it becomes 0. Once it becomes 0, the out goes high and it waits for the next count. If the gate input occurs within the duration of count, as shown in this diagram, the counter is again reloaded with the count and start counting from the beginning. At the rising edge of the right, out becomes high at the first falling edge of the clock after the first rising edge of the gate counter start counting. You just follow the timing diagram with my explanation, it would be clear then. Next, mode 2 operation. This mode 2 operation allows the counter to generate a series of continuous pulses that are 1 clock pulse width. The separation between pulse is determined by the count. If the count n is loaded, the output will remain high for n-1 clock periods and low for 1 clock period. For example, for a count of 10, the output is a logical 1 for 9 clock pulse period and low for 1 clock period. This cycle is repeated until the counter is programmed with a new counter or until the gate pin is placed at logic 0 level. The gate input must be logic 1 for this mode to generate a continuous series of pulses. In mode 2, a count of 1 is illegal. At the rising edge of right, out becomes high. At the falling edge of the clock, after the first rising edge of right, counter start counting. Mode 3 generates a continuous square wave at the output connection. Mode 3 is similar to mode 2 except for the duty cycle of out. If the count n is even, the output is high for 1/2, that is n/2 of the count, and low for 1/2 of the count. If the count n is odd, the output is high for 1 clock period longer than its low, that is high for n+1/2 clock pulses and low for n-1/2 clock pulses. For example, if the counter is being programmed for a count of 5, the output is high for 3 clocks and low for 2 clock cycles. Gate should be maintained at logic 1 always. Gate is equal to 1 enables counting here and gate is equal to 0 disables the counting in mode 3. If gate goes low while out is low, out is set high immediately. No clock pulses required. At the rising edge of WR, right, out becomes high At the first falling edge of the clock, after the first rising edge of right, counter starts counting. Mode 4 allows the counter to produce a single pulse at the output. If count of n is loaded, then out will be high for n clock cycles and low for 1 clock cycle at the end. The cycle does not begin until the counter is loaded again. The gate input must be maintained at logic 1 throughout the operation. This mode operates as software triggered one-shot mode. The gate input must be logic 1 for the counter to be operated for this 3 modes, that is mode 2, mode 3 and mode 4. At the rising edge of right, out becomes high at the first falling edge of clock. After the first rising edge of right, counter start counting as usual, as we have discussed in the previous 3 modes. Next, coming to mode 5, a hardware triggered one shot that function as mode 4, except that it is stated by a trigger pulse on the 6 pins instead of by software. When the gate pulse is being triggered from low to high, the counter begins. At the end of the count, out goes low for 1 clock period. This mode is also called hardware triggered strobe, that is re-triggerable. At the rising edge of right, out becomes high. At the falling edge of the clock, first rising edge of gate, counter starts counting. That's all with the timer. Thank you.